Hi, I'm Alan Murray, the CEO of Fortune, and I'm here with Ernie Garcia, who is founder and CEO of Carvana, which has really revolutionized the used car business. And in the process, it has rocketed itself onto the Fortune 500 list, number 483. Congratulations, Ernie.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
So, Ernie, Carvana is one of the youngest companies to make the 500 list, and it did it based on organic growth alone. It's also one of the fastest tech companies to make the Fortune 500. What does this Carvana debut mean to you and your company going forward?
I think it's just an unbelievable moment to stop and reflect. And I do think that we still imagine ourselves as the group of 20 people sitting in a room jumping up and down when we sold our first car in early 2013. And so I think to have gone from there to where we are now in just 8 short years is pretty unbelievable, and something that we're exceptionally proud of, and something that we never could have done if everyone across the company didn't embrace our mission the way that they have, and kind of work as hard as everyone's worked and run as fast as they've all run, and kind of made our dream their dream. And so it's been a really, really cool ride, and we couldn't be more grateful for it.
Ernie, you believe that if a company treats its employees well, they will in turn treat the customers well. Where does that belief come from?
Really, at the end of the day, what culture is it's the way that one person's behavior impacts someone else. And I think that the way that we interact with one another internally really does flow over to the way that we interact with our customers. And it's a really powerful and subtle thing. And I think one thing that I'm extremely proud of that is reflective of the way that we treat each other internally is going through COVID, when everyone was going through that moment of fear in kind of late Q1 of 2020, when the whole world felt like it shut down overnight. We faced the same struggles that every company out there faced, and we didn't know exactly when demand was going to come back, but we knew the transactions had been turned off, and we knew that when that happens, you have to react as a company, and you're in a tough spot where you have to find a way to make sure that you're not just spending money, with no end in sight when there's not transactions occurring. And so, an unfortunate reality there is that, generally speaking, those that are impacted in those moments the most are those in the front lines that are so important to delivering the great experiences that we care so much about delivering to our customers. And so we knew that we had to pull back on hours, and we saw that across the economy there were layoffs happening and furloughs happening, but we also wanted to adhere to our values. And so one of our values that we've always held very near and dear is that we're all in this together. And so if that value was going to be true in that difficult moment, we knew that it wasn't right for the subset of people who didn't have as much to do in that moment because demand had turned off to completely carry the burden for the entire company. And so the way we handled that instead is we created something called the We're All in This Together Fund, and the entire executive team and the board contributed their entire salaries into that fund. And then we sent out a company video, and we explained to everyone what was going on and why we were making the choice that we were making. And while we knew that they were tough choices and it was impacting people's lives in material ways, why we thought that they were the best choice for us to make collectively. And then we explained that we were building this fund and why we were building it and why we thought it was the right thing to do. And we invited those across the company that were in a position to be able to afford contributing to it, to contribute to the fund through a reduction in their own salary. And we didn't really know what was going to happen. We didn't know how many people would take us up on that offer to support their coworkers. And what ended up happening was just a truly amazing thing. We had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people across the company that contributed meaningful parts of their salary. We had many people contribute 100% of their salary because they were in a financial situation where they could afford that. We had many people who were hourly, who lost hours themselves, that contributed some of the time that they still had into this fund. And it was just an overwhelmingly powerful, coming together across the whole company. And as a result of that, those that did lose hours still got paid 80% as much as they would have had they not lost any hours because of the contributions into that fund. And it's something that I will be forever incredibly proud of. It was a moment where I think the goodness in people came out. And I think the goodness inside Carvana came out.
Wow.
And so, we've done a lot of things we're really proud of. Sitting here today talking about the Fortune 500 is an unbelievable accomplishment. But I think that human moment where it defined who we were, if I had to pick one thing that I'm proudest of, it was that. And I think that same spirit flows through to our customer experiences.
And it's your belief that that was not only the right thing to do for the people, but it was good for the business. It builds that employee loyalty that gets transferred to customers.
It's so funny when you come into 8 years ago, where we're just starting from scratch, you don't really know what culture is. It sounds like this high-minded concept that everyone says is important, so you're supposed to repeat the word culture matters. But I think as you go through this journey, you start to realize that All culture is it's the way that one person's behavior impacts another person's. And I think that when you're a company that's built on trying to leverage new technology to give customers a new experience, but also kind of taking that advantage that you have and investing in also having great people that are as excited as the customer is when they're getting that car delivered to them, because maybe they just had a new child or maybe they graduate or whatever it is. But you want to have people that care as much about that moment as the customer does. And I think being able to have a group of people that care deeply about each other and that kind of show up for one another, it translates to the customer experience because the way that we all behave internally translates to the way that we behave externally with our customers as well.
So I know Carvana has a very clear mission, and the mission is important to the company. Can you talk about what that mission is and why it matters to selling cars?
Sure. So our mission's incredibly simple. It's to change the way people buy cars, and we want to do so in a positive way. And I think any business, the opportunity that you have is a function of kind of the quality of theoretical improvement that you can have in the customer experience, and then the size of the market. And our market is enormous, and the room for improvement, at least according to certain customer preferences, was really, really large. And so that's enabled us to invest a lot in what we're building. It's enabled us to attract an incredible group of employees who care deeply about what we're building every single day. And I think that's why we're sitting in the spot that we're sitting.
Can you talk about the vending machines, please? I mean, I don't think I ever thought I'd see the day when cars were sold in vending machines.
The vending machines are a really cool experience. And I think it's something that may be a general trend for the future is that a place where businesses spend a decent amount of money is in marketing. It's very hard to get the attention of customers. And so, historically, one of the ways that companies spend their marketing dollars is they push their message, out into the airwaves or through different advertising mediums. But that doesn't have a direct customer benefit. What that does is it gets a customer's attention. And so what we decided to do is we said, can we build an experience that fits into our logistics network, but that is also so exciting and fun that customers want to talk about it? And now all of a sudden, instead of it just being advertising dollars where we're trying to get a customer's attention, we can actually share that experience with them. It can be an investment in their experience that makes them want to tell their friends about it. And it's been really effective and really fun. And if you ever buy a car from us, I suggest you go check one of them out.
How many do you have?
We have 28 now.
28. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like great marketing. From your launch in 2013, as you said earlier, you saw this unprecedented triple-digit year-over-year revenue growth. Amazing thing to watch. But what comes now? What does the future look like for Carvana?
We've got the same dream, the same mission that we always had, and this market's enormous. There's 55 or 60 million cars that are bought by Americans, every single year. When they buy a car, they have a lot of other needs that accompany it. We've built a business model that saves them time and money and gives them a broader selection and delivers them a great experience. So I think there's a million ways that we can do better, and we're going to work really hard to continually get better. And there's a lot of room for us to get bigger. So we've got a ton of work left. I think this is a moment in time that serves as an opportunity to reflect back on what we've done. And so we'll take a moment and be proud for a second, but I think then we'll get back to running as fast as we can.
Well, Ernie Garcia, thanks so much for being here, and congratulations on rocketing yourself onto the Fortune 500. I'm sure you'll keep climbing up the list.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.